Welcome, welcome, welcome. TBW Clips. I am Tyson. Today, we have a former Obama fundraiser. Uh, I believe she's having issues and problems with the Democrat Party. Let's find out what's going on.
Campaign is not only supporting former President Trump, one former Democratic fundraiser who helped raise millions of dollars for former President Obama's 2008 presidential campaign is not only supporting former President Trump, she's selling her collection of Democratic collectibles. Joining us now is Allo Ventures managing partner Allison Wynn. Okay, so Allison, this collection is worth
Selling, I would say hold on to it for a little bit longer, then try to get as much money as you can. But I think just selling stuff just because you have a problem or an issue with someone or a certain party, I think is a bit. She's acting out, right? Instead of acting accordingly to what's smart. I think she should hold on to it for a little bit longer and try to get as much money as she can. I don't know if they're at their peak right now, but usually when someone's out of office, their stock rises a little bit and stuff is worth more, right? So
millions of dollars. I think you have like JFK's rocking chair in there and the original Obama Hope sign and all these things. You're selling that and flipping from the left to Trump. What's causing you to do that?
Well, I had a really hard time during the pandemic. I'm a single mom of three teenagers living in the San Francisco Bay Area. So you can imagine some of the trials and tribulations I went through.
Allison, a lot of people struggled. A lot of people are looking at the two presidents and their record and saying, here's how I lived under Trump, here's how I lived under Biden. I'm going to make a different choice than I did in the last election. But you're at least willing to step up and say, the party has gotten too progressive and at least for now has lost its way. Why are other Democrats so unwilling to do that?
Well, with the Post article coming out, a lot of my friends called me and said, wow, you're speaking up and telling people your experience as, number one, an immigrant, a big tech insider, as well as living.
you know, I'm going to say this. Things don't happen overnight, right? We always want to say she should have saw this a long time ago. You know, people who are just realizing and understanding, and some are saying, hey, the party has left me. They've gotten too progressive. I disagree. I think they've always been like that, but I think there's more voices now. And they have a little bit more power, even though the Democrat Party pretty much they have more power than the Republican Party. Even if you have a Republican president, House and Senate, you have the majority conservatives on the judiciary bench, right? Liberals, Democrats, they are in charge of everything that consumes thought, right? Schools, your education system. Well, these are, of course, in liberal areas, but these are the areas that everyone complains about, right? They're in charge. Um, they're in charge of 90% of the news, right? 95% of the news. Everything that has to deal with thought, our education system, along with music, TV, everything that shapes your thought, they are in charge of. So they have a lot of power, even if they're not in power. So they've been the way they have been. If you go back and watch older movies, you'll see that. You'll see that in the movies. I mean, you're kind of seeing it now because they're saying what they're doing, so you can identify it. But back in the day, they did it. They snuck all that stuff in. but they were still doing it. So they haven't gotten more progressive. I think it's just out in the open more. Long winded. Sorry about that. Let's keep going.
A lot of my friends called me and said, wow, you're speaking up and telling people your experience as number one, an immigrant, a big tech insider, as well as living in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, and some of the things that has gone awry. So our policies, our super liberal leftist policies with San Francisco, it's a science experiment gone awry. And it's the same thing with big tech. There's the big tech and big corporate takeover of the Democratic Party, and our daily lives, the daily lives of parents, I guess soccer moms like me, was really bad during COVID. I homeschooled 3 kids. Grocery stores were closed. Retail malls were closing all over the San Francisco Bay Area.
See, the thing is, whenever it affects them, when people are when people on the right complain about progressive policies, the people on the left don't care until it happens to them. Their lives are affected. Then they start to see it. Wait, what's going on here? A lot of times they ignore it. But for those who are seeing it, but they're changing only because it's affecting them. They can't come out and see how it affects other people. She wasn't affected by this stuff prior to COVID. But it hit her right in the face during COVID. You hear how she's explaining it.
Right? And like I have 2 teenage girls that can't even go to Macy's. Like it's closed now. Right. Just going to like finding a Whole Foods or Safeway. I mean, I couldn't even go grocery shopping.
You know, you're unique in that you also bring a business perspective to the story as well. And I'm curious how you talk about voting based on business policies, how easy or not it is to operate, innovate, low regulations, all of the things that go into creating a successful business.
Well, I think one of the signs of leadership is to be positive and to be very specific with your policies. And I see Trump having very, very specific policies around immigration, around.
But it's always been like that, right? You get the politically speaking people who want to be politically correct without exactly saying exactly what they were going to do. And that's how I looked at these politicians. If you're able to convey to me how are you going to do certain things without using crazy words and language that I don't really understand, but it sounds good, that didn't make sense to me. So to me, put things in layman terms and simplify it and make it where I can understand it. That's what she's saying has happened to her. But Obama wasn't like that. Obama was a very eloquent speaker. But he didn't say anything if you go into his speeches. So what are you going to do? And then he'll talk all around it like most politicians do, except for just talking about the issue and the question that was just asked.
Is to be positive and to be very specific with your policies. And I see Trump having very, very specific policies around immigration, around AI, blockchain, as well as creating jobs. So you can look at the 2016 Jobs Act, which was a bipartisan effort. And he did a really great job of creating more jobs, also investments in Black, brown communities, as well as kind of like hillbilly areas where J.D. Vance and I grew up. I didn't grow up in the same place he did, but a similar place, like in Brussels, Texas, which is 5,000 people right outside of Austin.
Allison, thank you for sharing your perspective.
Yeah, so see, for a lot of people, it's starting to hit home because policies are directly affecting them. You see this in a lot of liberal cities right now that have immigration problems. Chicago, New York, They're starting to go red because they see how the policies that are put forward are affecting them personally. Now, I could be wrong once again, but I doubt it. If you think I am, let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.